if you understand the science, the technical aspect of what's going on when you are producing these further process items, you can make a good product great, or you can enhance the overall end result by being able to do a little bit of troubleshooting, which sounds like exactly what you were able to do.
Welcome to MeatsPad, a platform dedicated to sharing breakthrough knowledge that is accessible to the meats industry. On each episode, we will hear from meat specialists and professionals to talk about numerous topics in meat science. This podcast is brought to you by the U.S. Meat Export Federation, the National Provisioner, Ultrasource, the new standard for innovation,
IFA, Meat Processing Power.
Viscofan is a global leader and innovative partner in the food industry who provides solutions for the casing market.
Hello, meat folks. Welcome back to the MeatsPad podcast. Today, we have a different scenario. We have only myself and Dr. Bass on this conversation. We'll talk about very interesting topics. Dr. Bass, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Francisco. As always, I'm excited. I'm excited to interview you because you just got back from some international travel, and I think the world is is craving just a little bit of that international experience right now. And so even though a lot of folks maybe have been homebound for quite some time, I think you may be able to shed a little bit of light on what's going on out there in the world. And so, Francisco, where have you been more recently in some of your travels?
So this is good because I think we need to discuss more about what's out there, what's overseas in terms of meat processing, the meat industry, in out there in the world. I mean, I had the opportunity last December to be in Puerto Rico for almost a week. We had very good customers down there, folks that are starting to process their own beef. A lot of the times, for experience, one of our customers, they came for Academy last year and they're wanting to process their own pork. So I've seen this tendency of folks that are farm and have some production in their facilities, and they're starting to get more involved in the processing side of things. So they wanted to learn more about the process, a little bit more about how to make bacon, how to produce summer sausage. And so I went to visit them, went to the farm, and was starting a project in June. So it's pretty fairly small, where they want to process maybe 100, 150 head of pork a week. Most recently, I had the opportunity to go to Peru. I was invited by USMEF, the United States Meat Export Federation. We work very closely with them in South America, with Jessica Holka, and so there were some people needing education in South America. So how it came out to be was how can I say that? It was like a training / seminar on the principles of meat science, how they can just benefit, just getting to know more about the science behind it. It's not only injecting, it's not only tumbling, it's not only cutting. So I think there's a huge need of that in South America, and so they reached out to me, maybe gave an hour seminar, but more like a seminar. It was more like interaction. I want to know what your needs are. I want to understand what your challenges are, and get that back and forth. They were about 45 people in the room, so it's a little bit of that. And I had the opportunity to go to Colombia for another a week to do have the privilege. This year I met during IPPE the president of the meat industry, or it's called Association of Meat Processors in Colombia. So the president, Mr. Alvaro Urrea, met him in Atlanta, and is like, "Man, you have to give a talk." So we did also a talk with up to 39 people, just that wanted to know more about animal welfare, a little bit about transportation, a little bit about meat processing in general. But overall, I think that's one of my task in my role is to help the processors out there. They come to us and they have some needs in animal welfare or whatever it is that we can help them in either stunning, kill floor, processing. So sorry if I bore you a little bit, but that's pretty much a summary of what I did. So
well, and no bore at all. I mean, I've been taking notes the entire time because I have a lot of follow-up things that I'd like to bring about. But I mean, just to recap, so you went to Puerto Rico, which isn't necessarily an international travel, but it's definitely overseas travel. It's U.S. territory. But then spent some time in Peru and then Colombia. How well would you say those visits? Or on those visits? How well would you say people are educated about basic meat science principles? Do they understand kind of what's going on, or is it kind of more just a recipe that they're following, and if something goes wrong, they're not necessarily ready to troubleshoot?
Yeah, I think what I've seen so far is more they know how to do, they know what they're doing, but a lot of the times is they don't understand why they're doing it. I mean, the science behind it. And I give you one example. So, and I think I visited with Jessica Holcas. I was telling you, she's the delegate of USMF in South America. She's based out of Peru and Lima. And we went to a plant. So this customer was importing skirts, inside skirts and other American meat cuts. And they were having trouble with getting the after the tenderization. They were injecting, they were tumbling, they were having trouble. I mean, the product was tough. He was like, well, I don't know why I'm doing all that I can. I got the good ingredients. I'm adding salt, phosphate, enzymes and whatnot. It was injecting up to 10-15%. And it's like, Jessica, what's going on here? So we took, it was like a couple hour drive, and it was within Lima, but the traffic it was bad. So it took us almost 2 hours and a half to get to that place. And so stay there, was seeing the process with the meat cutters and stuff. And I realized they were doing it right. But at the end, after the injection, they were freezing the product, and they were so they were doing all the business. I mean, all the supply chain, the product, I mean, kept frozen. So like, well, what's going on? So they're injecting enzymes to make the inside skirt a little bit more tender, and they sell it frozen, and they send it to food service, and they cook it right away frozen. Well, I don't know. What would you tell me? What's going on?
Well, it sounds to me like we're not allowing the enzymes to do the job.
And it was as simple as that. I mean, just little things that sometimes they I mean, they're very I mean, it's transparent and being clear, like it's easy, but sometimes those little meat processing tips, I just told them, oh, well, you're doing it right. Just I mean, I think on the trimming the inside skirt a little bit more, a little bit of the temperature of the room. Nothing big, but I think the biggest one was that. And I was very excited because when I came back, I got a call from Jessica, and it's like, it worked. Customer liked it. The consumers were happy. Product was tender, and they're about to start this project. So I don't know. It kind of makes you happy that a little bit of examples like that help. I mean, just promote the commercialization of meat, and not only in the States but also in other places. So.
Well, and so it also kind of brings credence to the value of us learning more about meat science and biological science in general. I mean, enzymes, for those out there listening, enzymes, they're biological molecules that need certain conditions to be effective. And I just got done talking in my class actually that I teach here at the University of Idaho. And the warmer the temperatures, the better the biological chemical reactions will work, or at least the faster they will. And so that could be in reverse. And it sounds like you were able to identify they're doing everything right. They're following the recipe exactly right, but they're not allowing for the right temperature for those enzymes to help to tenderize the meat, which was the whole purpose of allowing them to be in there. And so sometimes we just need to give them a little bit of time.
Since 1883, Ultrasource has been a trusted supplier to the food industry. Ultrasource provides superior kill floor, processing, packaging, and labeling equipment and operational supplies.
Yeah, and the whole example, like the marination of the injection part of it. So a lot of the places, like say Mexico, Central America, South America, and I'm sure other places as well, they getting maybe 10-15% injection to make it tender, but as well a little bit of the education is like how to communicate with them that is not necessary to go all the way up to 30-40% injection. And that's one of the things that I deal a lot with when it comes to the ethics. And believe it or not, in some of the countries, I mean, they don't have to inform the injection or the percent of injection. So not saying like everyone, but there's some folks that they inject up to 25, 30, 35%, and they do not report it on the label.
Yeah.
So, and I think we need to understand a little bit about, I mean, why we need to go back to the basics. Is why are we injecting? Are we injecting to improve the overall experience? When we talk about tenderness and flavor, but it's a fine line between doing it to make it like more tender to improve the overall quality of the meat. But when it comes to injecting more than they need, and it's a reality. I mean, in a lot of places that I go, they're injecting bone-in hams up to 40-50%, and
wow.
And that's one of the things that I have to work with. And so that's a reality. So when Jessica was telling me, like, okay, you need to be aware that, okay, if these guys are going to be injecting at 10%, 12%, so we need to tell them, like, that, I mean, to make it a good product that is still fresh, that they can sell it fresh, not frozen, they need to follow some guidelines to fall under the USMF guidelines to market that product as American cut. So I don't know what you think about that, but that's something that I come across a lot, and just helping the customer as well to understand how can they identify if product that's been injected and like overly injected.
Yeah.
So. And now during this break, I would like to invite one of my good friends up in Oregon, Rebecca from MPAN, the Niche Meat Processor Assistance Network. How are you, Rebecca?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Francisco.
Oh, thank you. It was a crazy year last year. A lot of movement and a lot of education that you guys provided last year, and that was successful. And this year, you guys are doing it again with this academy. I think it's good to be back. I'm glad to have you back on the podcast, and you can just tell us more about this academy that you guys putting together in late March, so we can have other folks that are interested in attending, so they can get more information.
Yeah, so it's called the Meat Processor Academy. It's a collaboration between NPAN, the American Association of Meat Processors, and a business consulting firm called Kitchen Table Consultants. So we've put together a 6-week virtual short course that's really designed for plants that are small to mid-scale, but want to grow, build their businesses, particularly their financials, their human resources, and operations. So we've really honed in on topics that are critical for growing meat processors and invited some really awesome guest speakers, including, some meat scientists, some really competent, experienced operators. And we're going to touch on 6 different subjects over those 6 weeks. And people can participate from the comfort of their home or their office. And we are enrolling people right now until March 21st, and the first class will be on the 22nd. But if people can't participate in the classes live, they all will be recorded and sent to them the next day.
Well, you guys heard it. You guys are interested in understanding more. I mean, this is more based on like as you said, the finance, the economics of, so to make it profitable, right? So this is a good opportunity to have experienced folks that have been on the business for many years, and we get together and visit about how to make the business profitable, basically. Before we kind of wrap it up, I like to get your perspective on what happened last year. From your perspective, I know a lot of new plants started, and I know you can tell us a little bit of the numbers. I know you have them as far as how many head of a day of beef or pork they were killed. I mean, I don't know. I would like to know more from your perspective. I know that we have all the data that you have available from 2021. How was the small and meat size operation for in the meat industry in general?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many additional head they're processing, but I do know from surveys that they're processing about 15 to 20% more volume than they were pre-pandemic. And it's pretty incredible because most of them were not able to expand their workforce because there's no labor. So a lot of them did that by extending their hours, adding a Saturday shift. And some of them were able to make use of the CARES Act grant fund and some other grant funding to improve their equipment. So they're more efficient now. A lot have invested in like packaging technology to be more efficient there. And yeah, a lot of new plants also came online, which also expanded capacity. And there seems to be no end in sight for startups. We're getting contacted on a daily basis to help people apply for grants and get new facilities open. So it's kind of a heyday right now, and we're just trying to keep up. But I think this course will help, especially those startups as well, really, create viable businesses that hopefully will sustain into the future.
What are some of the funds available right now that maybe a start like wanting to look for those? Maybe you can provide some resource for them.
Yeah, so the phase 1 USDA Rural Development Meat Processor Expansion grants just came out. They're really designed for late stage projects. So folks who have already done all of their planning and just need that little bit of gap financing to get over the hump to build their new facilities or renovate their existing facilities. And then there'll be a second phase that comes out in the summer. It's unclear what it's going to look like, but it's probably going to be for smaller plants, smaller pots of funding, and cover a larger percentage of the project costs. And then USDA will also release the meat and poultry inspection readiness grants again, which they offered last year for the first time. And that's designed for custom exempt plants who want to go inspected. So whatever upgrades they need to make to their facility or food safety plans, that funding helps them kind of get over the hump there.
Perfect. And for folks interested, where can they find this information? Is that the MPAN website, or?
Definitely go to USDA Rural Development and type in meat processing or meat grants. But NPAN is available for technical assistance for folks who are wanting to apply for these grants. We're putting together a team of consultants that are launching next week with office hours, so folks can book a call with us and pick our brains and just ask questions about how to apply for these grants. We'll be ready and able to take on those inquiries. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you, Rebecca, for being here, and I'm sure you'll be hearing back from a lot of the processors listening to this podcast. Thank you a lot for joining us today.
Thank you.
And this is really good information, and this isn't at all a critique of other processes, but it's good to revisit the questions of why we do certain things and what's the objective. Every processor out there needs to have a reason why you may be injecting or brining or salting or whatever that may be. Is it to enhance the palatability? Is it to lower the cost, the sale cost of things? Because you could do a yield test at the end and say, well, if I can improve the yield, maybe I can lower the sale cost a little bit, still enhancing the overall palatability of the product, and hit a price point that's more desirable for the customer. I like a number of the inexpensive hot dog brands that are out there. I know what I'm buying. I'm getting oftentimes, mechanically separated pork and chicken, which it doesn't bother me at all. I think that's fantastic that we're able to capture that meat off of there. And then it also is going to have salts and phosphates and a bit of water in there. But to me, it's tasty. It reminds me of childhood, having a hot dog, a boiled hot dog, and reminds me of going to ball games and things like that. But I know what I'm buying, and you bring up a really good point: is that labeling is very important. And for those listening out there, just make sure you are following the guidelines, especially if you're a North American processor. We do have a lot of regulations when it comes to labeling and declaration of ingredients, especially as we continue to advance in allergens and things like that. But always just keep in mind, what is the objective? What are we trying to do? And customers are smart. And if you try to sneak things by over injecting and you're selling a lot more water as in the form of meat, and I'm using air quotes right now, in the form of meat, folks are going to come, they'll get wise to it. And the value has to be right. And so just always keep that in mind for our processors out there. And you also bring up a really good point. There was a previous podcast, a recent podcast, you interviewed Maria Ponce. Is that right?
Yes, Maria Ponce from Honduras.
Yeah. And she brought up a really good point too, in that there's a lot of folks out there that can follow the recipe and they're doing exactly the job that they were given. But if you understand the science and the technical aspect of what's going on when you are producing these further process items, you can make a good product great, or you can enhance the overall end result by being able to do a little bit of troubleshooting, which sounds like exactly what you were able to do.
Yeah, and understand. I think to understand the limitations, and one example that we also brought is ethics, and I think I'd like to emphasize a little bit more on ethics, because when it comes to, let's say I'm the final customer, or I'm trying to buy beef, and I got different suppliers, and one comes with, let's say, a bone-in ham, and I don't know, $4 a pound. Let's give it a price, and then the other guy comes with a $3 a pound, and then $5 a pound, and you're gonna go with the cheapest, right? Well, I'm gonna go with the 3, but if they don't telling you that they're making it cheaper by injecting more water, is not a ethical, we call it a competition, right? Because you're not. So there's you
got to be fair with the competition, right? Yeah, you need to show your cards. What is it that you're selling, and help the customer make an informed decision. And maybe they still prefer the lower cost item. I mean, there's some deli ham that I know that's out there that has an awful lot of water and brine injected. I really like it. It's silky. It's tasty to me. But then there's also, some very traditional roast beefs that are out there that don't have hardly any water injected. It's more of just kind of a rub that was put on there before they were cooked. But as long as I know what I'm buying, that's the important part, right? So.
I think that's the key, right? Knowing what you're getting and seeing it on the label. So a little bit of the experiences that we were able to face and look at. Some processors that are wanting to are looking for the export to the States. I mean, there's also folks. I mean, you think about, there's a lot of people buying American cuts overseas, but also there's folks trying to export meat, lean meat to the States, so they can use it for trim, or they can use it for burger or something like that. You can still add some protein, but it's a lean portion. So there's some folks out there that are wanting to do that. And I was impressed. One of the things that I was also impressed by the fact that in Peru they're using a lot of the retail stores are carrying products, fresh meat, vacuum packaged, and I was like,
really?
Wow. I think, yeah, I was.
That's pretty
one of the
advanced.
things is pretty advanced, and well, I was shocked because they either have the MAP, modified atmosphere packaging, or vacuum package, but a lot of the stuff they get a lot of the CAB stuff, very good stuff down there, and they portion it, and then they will just sell it in steaks, or but fresh and vacuum package. And I think that's one of the things that I was able to see, and like, wow, they just by doing that very small thing, they're optimizing the shelf life, because they don't having to aerobically display the products. They're just only in the cooler with I mean, just that anaerobic packaging, and I think that's a good thing. So,
well, I wonder, I think we have a lot to learn from those folks. We need to go back and talk with the retailers who made that decision, because I mean, there's many virtues for selling vacuum packaged product at the retail case in the fresh in the fresh state. For those out there listening who are less familiar with the retail display, we tend to display meat in a oxygen permeable membrane, and so traditional foam trays with that overwrap that still allows for oxygen to permeate through, nothing else of course, but oxygen permeate through, and so we get that nice bright cherry red color on the beef and kind of a lighter color on the pork and things. Whereas if you vacuum package products, you're going to have a bit of a darker color to it, and it's not going to look what maybe the traditional US or Canadian retail customer is expecting. They're expecting that brighter cherry red color. And through my travels in Europe, I too have noticed quite a bit of fresh product in vacuum packaging. And we got to think too about the big interest in food waste and product sustainability. Yeah, that vacuum packaging has a lot of benefits. The product's going to last longer, the quality is going to be maintained longer, but it does take a lot of education.
Yeah.
On the sales side, to educate the consumer on why things look so different. So I'd be curious to go and visit with those folks to see how do they teach their consumers to buy. Well,
that's funny. That's funny because early on the podcast, I mean, I interviewed Dr. Beckett. He's in University of Otago in New Zealand, and towards the end, I asked him about that, and he was saying like he took a lot of work between academia, government to just promote just vacuum packaged meat, educating the consumer, like why is it that it's better for everyone selling in the form of vacuum packaging. And it took him a while, but they understood. He said like 6-7 years or something. I can remember, but it was a long process, but they understood the importance of doing that for the impact on food waste, and they can pretty much reduce at zero or close to zero.
I mean, there's a lot of considerations too, and I'm not telling any retailers that are out there listening right now to just flip the switch on and go to straight portioned vacuum packaging, because you do need the specialized equipment. It's not that much more advanced than the overwrap equipment that's in the back of most retail stores. And there is the consideration of, do we continue to cut meat in the back room at the retail store, which I think there's a lot of virtues for that, having real live meat cutters there. Or do we centralize? Do we go to more of a commissary that does all the portioning, vacuum packaging, and then the folks at the stores are mostly just opening the boxes? I still very strongly believe in having real live meat cutters at the grocery stores. But I think we could also pretty easily put vacuum packaging in those situations and really extend the shelf life. And then the other great thing about vacuum packaging of retail product is folks that do want to buy, say, a lot of steaks at one time. The foam tray with oxygen permeable overwrap, it doesn't freeze very well. And if you just throw the whole thing into a freezer, especially a home freezer, you end up with freezer burn, and just it's kind of a mess. Whereas a vacuum packaged steak or chop, it's already ready to go into the freezer, and you pull it out as you need it. So a lot of virtues there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and maybe that some folks just get the idea and have or buy a vacuum package, a little small Ultravac 225 to have in the at the store where they have the meat cutters. They got people sitting they're cutting at the store and doing it in the back and just optimizing the shelf life overall. But I think it's been great. I don't want to overwhelm with just more conversation. I think that the message was that, I mean, just the importance of having someone on the team that he knows about food safety, that knows about food science or meat science, that it's something that little examples like that can improve your overall palatability and yeah. So
well,
I don't know
it's
what
also we're about to land this plane here, but I think it's also really important, and we've talked about this in the past, but it's really important to have that experience of other countries, cultures, or even within a country, just the different regionalities of how meat and any other business practices may be operated. And you're the one leading the charge right now, man. You're getting back out on the road before the majority of the world is, and we appreciate you doing that. So one question that I do want to ask you, Francisco, and something that you mentioned earlier, and I think you talked about this with Maria Ponce, is the academy. Can you elaborate a little bit more about what the academy is?
So we through education, and I know we had my boss Noah Hall a while ago, almost a year ago, when we talk about continuing education, meat science education, meat processing education. So we rely a lot on science. A lot of our team have an advanced degree in meat science. So we try to convey that message, that why is it the importance of education, knowing what you're processing. Talk about raw materials. Why is it important to have high quality raw materials in terms of procuring it? We go all the way down to injection processing, and we like the concept of going over the theory, and then right after that go to the showroom and do it. And so have them see why is that important to understand the principles. And so we tried to do, it's a 2.5 days short course. This past academy we had 20 meat processors, and she was the only one from Honduras or overseas. Gonna have one in April, and that's gonna be the Spanish one. So far I got like 12 people registered for that. I got folks from Peru, Panama, Colombia, and Mexico coming for that. Folks that are either have an existing processing facility or are wanting to open a new one, and they want to just understand more about it. And I think in 2 days, 2.5 days, we do a good job of going over a lot of stuff, because we manufacture 25 to 28 products in 2 days, and the last day we display them and do like a little bit of a show, a product show at the end. So
So it's a very
so
intensive, meat science course that is available to professionals out there. And, what a great opportunity to go and not only learn about meat science, but also try out some of the equipment that would be necessary to do some of that further processing. So, well, I'm glad you brought that up. And then I just want to bring up one more point, and this is a very selfish plug here, but on behalf of the American Meat Science Association, if you want to get more involved with learning more about technical meat science expertise and getting connected with the scientists, meat scientists out there in the industry, and getting access to the member directory and everything. The American Meat Science Association is currently having a membership drive, and so there's a variety of different options that are out there. Especially if you're a student, the cost is really low. For professionals, it gives you a chance to get a lower cost entry into the Reciprocal Meat Conference, which is an opportunity to network with the experts in the industry, and then also get a chance to listen to some of the technical information out there. And so if you have interest, please, on behalf of American Meat Science Association, which we're a partner of, check out Meat Science. That's meatscience.org, meatscience.org. Tell them Phil and Francisco sent you, and I'm sure we'll get a gift bag or something out of the deal. So, no, I'm kidding. But anyway, Francisco, any other thoughts?
Well, no, I highly encourage our meat science grad students and either processors that I wanted to learn more on the science as well. We got good posters and good reciprocal meetings and sessions. It's this year is taking place in Des Moines, Iowa, as well as
June 12th through the 15th.
Well, that's coming soon.
Yeah, coming up. Don't miss it. We'll be there. And if you're inquisitive or have things to share, we may want to just have you on the podcast. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're open, and for everyone that wants to be on the podcast, talk about the research or some of the contribution they're doing. We're very open to have a candid conversation, talking about what's the impact of that research in the meat industry, and we're glad to do that. So
yeah.
Good. I think it was good, and I'm sure we'll be talking more. I love that we're doing this. So thank you a lot for your time, Dr. Bass.
Anytime.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you.